Hello everybody. Let's learn how to quilt using a tangram. A tangram is a puzzle that is thousands, at least 1,000 years old from China. And they just have these 7 basic pieces. And from these 7 pieces, you should be able to make several shapes. And I'm trying to make I want to finish the quilt that's in my bedroom, so I need a few more pieces. And, you know, there's a rabbit and a Chinese guy running, swan, and there's several other different, different pieces that you could get. This particular game I have is called Tanjos, and you have a set of red and a set of black, 7 each, and whoever gets this design first wins. But if you can't figure it out, they tell you on the other side how it's split up so that you can figure it out. This one's pretty easy. It's cat. Cat has ears and a body. This one's different because, let's see here. Here, yeah. Because the neck, see, it doesn't come all the way up. And this comes here. And the parallelogram will be over here. It's a tail. And then the feet. See? Pretty easy, huh? So now we're going to do, sorry. Now we're going to do a quilt. I just wanted to see if the puzzle was in, the area of the video, and I tripped. All right. So, in order to quilt, you need something that won't, the material won't slide around on. So I have this little piece of sanding paper on my book, and this happens to be one of my favorite books. It was such a good book. It was, and I also put my dried leaves in it. Becoming Mrs. Lewis by Pujari-Harrian. She's a fantastic writer. But it's an improbable love story between C.S. Lewis and this lady that came from the United States. They were pen pals. They started out as pen pals. Well, okay, let's go back to quilting. Her head. What do we want her head? What color? I have a few pieces of cloth on this side. I think I'll make a red head because I want her to stand out. So on the wrong side of the fabric, you have your pen and your, most people don't use a pen, but this is a permanent pen and I haven't had any trouble with it so far. They use the kind of pencils that you're supposed to draw on paper, but I don't bother with it. I just do a very thin line, and it's permanent ink. It doesn't bleed, and you have a square, perfect square. So now we want our ears. What color do we want our ears to be? Want blue ears or tan ears, maybe? Tan ears or blue ears or green ears or brown ears. I think I want blue ears. So we'll take the 2 little squares, triangles. I know my shapes. 2 little triangles, and I already had some kind of drawing on here that I didn't use. And just come across like this. And there's 1. So you want another one. right, let's cut these out and see what they start looking like. If it looks like a cool cat. They say that these puzzles are good for your spatial recognition. You know, it's good for your cognitive growth. I don't know, I just like them. I'm a puzzle person anyway. I like puzzles. I have a new kind of puzzle that I'm going to put together that has all kinds of different shapes in it. And if I get it together, I'll consider it a new craft, because they're all different shapes. They're not your usual puzzle shapes. They're all different designs in there, the little wooden designs. So after I finish that and my grandchildren grow up just a little bit more, I'll hand it over and I'll say, can you do this? We'll see. There. I clip off the corners like this because it's easier to, when it comes to sewing, not to have corners. So, I know that there are people that would do this more exact than I'm doing it. But if I tried to do this any more exact than I'm doing, I wouldn't enjoy it. You know, it wouldn't be fun for me. How about the body? Do we want a green body? Do we want a tan body? No. Do we want a brown body? Yeah, let's do a brown body. At least part of it is brown. So do one of the squares. I keep forgetting that you need to see what I'm doing. My sister was a full-time quilter. She loved to quilt. She quilted. She actually finished her quilt, and they're all really beautiful. She gave them all away, and she had all these little tiny pieces of leftover cloth that I, hoarded. I have quite the stash. So I can do quite a bit with them. All right, so I'm eyeing about 1/4 of an inch around the around where I traced. It's supposed to be 1/4 of an inch. So if you need to how does this go? If you need to measure it, please do. There are quilting rulers that you can see through, and they would allow you to see through it to make that 1/4 inch border. I'll put somebody up on the Gramski page that is more of a traditional teacher so that you can see the difference. There's a big cat. Okay, but do I have it right? I don't know. Maybe it goes like this. And like this. I think so. That's more of the body, huh? Hard to tell. No, this goes like this on the bottom. Let's see. What does the puzzle say? Yeah, I was right in the first place, huh? This way and this way, yeah. The body just looked so big to me, it didn't look right. So now we want the feet. And I want the feet to be blue again, or do I want it to be red? I want it to be blue. And I want the tail to be red. And then there. All done. Ta-da! And then I'll do the other ones later. This one, see, this ear is smaller than the tail one. Yeah. Here's his little feet and a red tail, and we can start playing with it, see how it goes together. See, these little pieces are just good for anything, aren't they? You know, one time I was in a quilting group, and this one lady just tossed a whole bag of pieces on the counter and said anybody could have them. Nobody really wanted them because they were just pieces. And I'm like, oh, these are beautiful. I love them. So I took all these pieces and I made a whole quilt from it. And I came back and showed them my design, and I don't think they were impressed, but I impressed me. I was just thrilled. It was all good cloth. This is Moda. Moda is a good brand of cloth. So it'll stay a long, long time. All right, the cut, the body, the tail. How was it? Yeah. Whoops, I did it backwards. It's supposed to be in the other direction. All right, I'll make another one. And the feet. Well, let's start putting these together so that I can show you, at least begin to show you the method of quilting. Okay, you need your pins. And there are points that you want to, oh man, my eyes. There are points that you want to measure together to make sure that they, so I went in one point and through another point like that. A lot of people quilt on the machine, but I don't find it as enjoyable. I feel more stressed if I'm on the sewing machine. I want the sewing machine to do straight lines or zigzag, but I don't want it to do art. I may change my mind, but for now, I'm just, you know, it's just not comfortable for me. There, see how I'm doing it? You know, you poke it in one line and you match it up to the other line on the other side. And you get a needle, which I don't have readily at my, that's nice. I get ready to quilt and don't have the needles out. There's some here. Here's a needle, and the thread would be over here. Green thread is fine. Any kind of dark color is good. If you have white thread on a dark color, then, you know, it might peek through at some point. But it won't peek through if you do it this way. Now, I don't have my needle threader with me. Ah, it went through, it went through. Okay, and then I knot the bottom. Everybody has their own ways of knotting, right? I lick my fingers and go like this. My mom's knot. She used to knot like that. It works. Whatever works, right? All right, so you put this here, and you match up those corners again, corner to corner. I took a quilting class when I was pregnant for my baby. Oh, that was in 1981, I think. No, 1982. And, you know, I'm all about, you know, easy and let's do it, you know, don't bother with being too fussy. And she looked at my stitches and she said, "Oh, I see you've taken the drunkard's path." So after that, I was like, well, I'm not going to go on any quilting show, that's for sure. But whenever I gave a gift to someone, they didn't care if if I didn't follow a straight line with the stitches. You know, it mattered to me that the points came together, but it didn't matter to me about the stitches if they were a little crooked. So I never bothered trying for a quilting contest because I knew my stitches wouldn't measure up. Not against those that have quilted for years and years and years and have devoted themselves to this craft. That's the thing about each craft I'm doing, that I'm finding out that people devote their lives to perfecting their craft, one craft. I watched a lady tonight cross-stitching, and she started out with patterns, but in 3 years, she could design her own from still life. You know, not even a drawing. She would look at the still life and do it. So, wow, that is amazing. So, you know, if I stuck with one craft for years and years, I would probably do a much better job, but that's not my thing. My thing is I want to try it all. I want to do it all. Before I die, I want to say, yes, I have done it all. That's my bucket list. And at first I thought I could do it all in a year, but that's not going to happen. So in 3 years, I'm going to be 70. So I figure by the time I'm 70, I'll have completed several different kinds of crafts if I'm as diligent about it as I want to be. So I iron it with my fingernails, which aren't very long, probably because I overuse them. See? And that goes together. And you do it that way through the whole thing, point to point. And if you're interested, I will do a whole one, you know, a real quilt block. This isn't a real quilt block, but it's going to turn out to be a applique block. So in another video, I'll do a whole quilt block so that you can see how it goes together. Okay. Thank you.